Hey, what's up Guardians, TBL here, and today we're bringing you a video on how you can attain and complete the Elder Cipher exotic bounty, granting you a chance at 3 exotic weapons. Now, unlike previous exotic bounties, the Elder Cipher's completion requirements do not vary based on what you pick. Regardless of whether you pick the Lord of Wolves shotgun, the Queenbreakers Bow exotic fusion rifle, or the Dreg's Promise exotic sidearm, the steps to complete the bounty will always be the same. So alright, let's go ahead and dive on in here. In order to get your hands on an Elder Cipher bounty, you'll need to farm the Prison of Elders. Now, you can only get the Cipher from the level 34 and level 35 bosses inside the Prison of Elders. Simply hop in and start beating the bosses, and eventually upon completion of the prison itself, killing that last boss, you will eventually get your hands on the Elder Cipher. And once you do, congratulations, step 1 is complete. And if you're well prepared, completing step 2 will be quick and easy. Once you've got the Cipher, your next task will simply be to take it to Variks inside the Reef. So, head back to the Vestian outpost and Variks will officially get you started on this bounty. Now, when Variks first presents this bounty to you, you'll be able to choose which reward you want, but this is mostly for show. As regardless of what you choose here, at the end of this bounty, you will be able to pick whichever exotic weapon you want. Alright, let's take a quick look at your options here. The 3 weapons Variks has available for you are the Queenbreakers Bow exotic fusion rifle, which acts sort of like a sniper rifle, the Lord of Wolves exotic shotgun, which kind of acts a little bit like a pulse rifle, and finally, the exotic sidearm, the Dreg's Promise. Once you finish gawking at each of these weapons and are ready to proceed, accept the bounty from Variks and we'll move on to step 2. Now, remember when I said that step 2 can be really quick if you're prepared for it? Well, I meant with treasure keys, since now you'll need to attain the Queen Cipher, which can be found in the big chest on the level 32 and up version of the Prison of Elders. So, if you've got treasure keys, which are now thankfully easy to get with the new patch, you're set. Just run through the 32 Prison of Elders and open the Queen's chest at the end. And before you know it, you'll have yourself the Queen Cipher, completing step 2 of the Elder Cipher bounty. If you don't have a treasure key, you'll need to go farming for one before you can open this up. And hopefully you pick one up soon. Alright now, once this step is done, you'll be tasked with once again returning to Variks in the Reef, where he will set you off on what's probably the most frustrating part of this bounty. After handing over the Queen Cipher to Variks, he will return to you the Elder Cipher and then ask you to wait for him to finish his work. And that's pretty much it, you just have to wait until Variks summons you back to the Reef. Step 3 is one big waiting game, and it has thus far been the source for a lot of frustration for players since the timing on it seems to change player by player. You also don't really get a big notification for when Variks is done. You'll simply have to wait a while and keep checking the Reef until he eventually has an exclamation point above his head. Now personally, my wait time was a little over 24 hours, but BlackVox, who you guys have seen plenty of on the channel, had a wait time of around 72 hours, so again the time varies between person. During this phase, there's not really much else to do. Go play another game or go do other stuff in Destiny. And while I know it's frustrating to have to wait for an unknown amount of time, the general timetable seems to be between 24 to 72 hours. Hopefully you guys get on the shorter end of that. But eventually, Variks will have a marker above his head letting you know that you're ready for the next step of the bounty. Once he does, Variks will inform you that the only way to complete the Elder Cipher is to defeat bosses inside the Prison of Elders arena. That's right, Guardian, you've gotta head back in. Upon reading the Cipher, you'll notice that it has a marker of 0 out of 1,000. You'll need to build up points by defeating challenge bosses inside the Prison of Elders. This actually isn't too bad, and there are several ways of doing it, since beating bosses on any variant of the Prison of Elders will grant you points towards this bounty's completion. But of course it is worth saying that the higher the difficulty, the more points you'll get towards completing the bounty. Basically meaning running the Prison of Elders on 34 or 35 will grant you way more points than if you did it on 28 or 32. The point scaling goes like this. On level 28, the final boss or any non-challenge final boss are worth 75 points each. On level 32, the final boss plus completion are worth 250 points. On level 34, the final boss is worth 350 points. And finally, on the level 35 variant, Skolas is worth 450 points plus an extra 75 from the Pilot Servitor. Meaning you can complete this phase of the bounty in 2 runs of the level 35 variant. So alright, those are your options for completing this phase of the bounty. And as you can see, there are a lot of ways of going about this. You could do a couple of 34 runs, 2 35 runs, or 3 or 4 32 runs and 1 28 run to get this done. Or you can engage in a sort of boss rush, which is what I wound up doing for this bounty. where you simply get to a challenge boss on the 32, 34, or 35 variant of prison. Kill him, and then immediately let yourself die so that you can restart the fight. Every time you take down that boss, you'll get the points for completion. Meaning you can get this done pretty quickly and in a single prison run. And as you guys can see here, Urox the Flame Prince is a fantastic boss to do this on. Basically, you want to go in, beat the boss, and while they're still dying, go ahead and take yourself out with a rocket or whatnot. Doing this, I was able to get this phase of the bounty done in no time flat. But alright, once you've gathered up 1,000 points, it's time to head back to the Reef. Load back into the Vestian outpost and make that triumphant walk up to Variks, who will offer you one of 3 weapons. And if you've reached this point, congratulations Guardian, you have completed the Elder Cipher exotic bounty. And now you can take your pick of whatever weapon you want. Personally, I chose the Lord of Wolves. It's a pretty awesome exotic shotgun, and its special ability allows nearby teammates to recover their health faster whenever you get a kill. But whatever you pick, I hope you enjoy it. And that about wraps up this exotic bounty guide. If you guys like what you saw here, do feel free to check out my channel where you can find a ton more Destiny videos coming out soon. Anyways, it's gonna be it for this one guys. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.